TV, bro. Guess where we are? We got Combat and Coffee, and we got it from Brooklyn. You know what else we got? Today we are Combat and Pizza. A little bit of adjustment to Combat and Coffee. We're Combat and Pizza today.
Talking about on that slice?
Onions, tomatoes. This is a typical Sicilian square. We're here on Crispy Pizza. Shout out to Crispy Pizza. They would take care of me over here. Bensonhurst's finest.
Oh, you're in Bensonhurst?
Yeah, absolutely. Last time I took you to LMB, next time I'm going to take you to Crispy Pizza when you come to Brooklyn.
It looks insane. What's on top of it? What's the crispy stuff?
Hey, Steve, now. Who's here?
Oh, what's up, Steve? How we doing?
We got Steve here.
What is that on top? What makes it crispy?
I put hot pepper on it. You know, I buried in red pepper too.
Well, happy New Year, Paulie. I'm happy you got on your diet quickly. Any new and do you have any resolutions?
Any prediction for 2024?
No, resolutions.
Resolution? No, I don't do the resolution thing. No. First of all, does anybody actually ever hold on to their resolution? People make resolutions as if they're gonna hold on to them after like a week. You know, why make a resolution? You can make a resolution every day of your life. Why do you have to make what's a New Year's to make a resolution? You make a resolution every day of your life. That's my tip of the day. You know, we got the Italian word of the day. We got a tip of the day. Make a resolution every day of your life to be better. That's it. You don't need New Year's to make a resolution. Secondly, over here, hopefully boxing is the heavyweight division gets going in 2024. No, we didn't really do a lot with the heavyweight division in 2023. We had a good year in boxing. I felt like we didn't have a big heavyweight year in 2023. Don't you think?
We had I think the biggest fight or what made the most impact was the Ngannou versus Fury fight, or Fury versus Ngannou. And in terms of the echo it had in MMA and boxing.
And for any of those jerk-offs out there that are complaining that I'm eating while I'm doing the show, it's my show, all right? I have a very homey approach to my show, okay? It's like I'm kicking it with the fellas. When you're kicking it with the fellas, do you not eat? Do you not eat because you're kicking it with the fellas? No. Well, you guys are my fellas. I'm eating and talking boxing with you.
Okay, first question. We're going to look at 3 main points of 2023. What was the one moment, press conference, fight, decision that you would put in a time capsule to encapsulate this year?
I mean, for me, when they announced Fury versus Ngannou and then it happened, it was cool. Ryan Garcia versus Javante Davis was a big fight as well. I think just in general, some of the exciting fights we had, Lee Wood turning in another heart-stopping performance against Josh Warrington. He becoming like a bit of an Arturo Gatti. You know, there's a lot of things you can take out of 2023 boxing, and you know it'll like kind of stick out. Usyk going down from a body shot / low blow that still remains a bit controversial. You know, it's a lot of things in 2023 boxing, and it leaves you a lot to be expected of 2024 because the heavyweight division came back right at the end with that Saudi card, and it kind of gets everybody going again. You know.
But if you could choose one moment, what would that be?
Tyson Fury hitting the canvas against Francis Ngannou.
All right. I got Earl Spence falling in that second round. I got him getting knocked down in that second round, not falling. That just showed, for me, that answered a lot of questions, and I think it sparked a bunch.
Yeah, Fury going down against Ngannou was everybody was shocked, you know?
Yeah, true. That I guess that can be a recognition for heavyweight, and yeah, I like that. It was just quiet up until then, and then last week or 2 weeks ago we had the Day of Reckoning that you didn't get to touch on.
You know, the funny thing about boxing this year, typically end of the year boxing, there's like a break at the end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have much of a break. I mean, we had the Saudi part on the 23rd of December. We had a New Year on the 26th. We have there's a New Year's Eve show in Japan every year, and there's a title fight going on New Year's Eve that just happened. And now we got we're going right into 2024 with Virgil Ortiz starting out the year, you know. And then we got Bitter Callum Smith on January 13th. So boxing just straight flowed into it, and that's good.
So let's loop back to 2023 again, real quick. Your Trash Talker of the Year award. Here are the 5 nominees: Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner, Beetlejuice, Conor McGregor, and you, Paulie Malignaggi. It's going to be the same every year. It's the same 5. So who won this year?
That's the thing. I mean, I don't think we're as much trash talk as we were before. Beef maintains a high level of trash talk regardless.
Okay.
But so I think it has to stay with beef because the other ones are not talking as much trash anymore. You know?
Yeah, I feel like he's the only one that's been consistent.
You know, there's a lot of trash talk. There's a lot of trash talk with Colbert against Valenzuela. That Colbert Valenzuela fight, 2 fights they had. There's a lot of trash talk with that. but Jimmy, you didn't put them on the list, so what are we gonna do? You know?
I mean, no, these are the you have your write-in.
Do I have what?
You have a write-in.
I have a write-in automatically. That's my show.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. All right, but I'm not gonna vote for myself. That's like cheating.
No, you have a write-in for anybody you want, not just yourself. You're also nominated too, but
all right. Well, I'm gonna go with Colbert and Valenzuela. Those press conferences were great trash talking.
When was that?
That was first they fought on Caleb Flame versus Benavidez, and then they fought again on the other card, on the last card over here. What was it? When was the rematch? The rematch was recently as well. It was on the Showtime show, the last Showtime show of the year.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking to me about that. Yeah. Oh yeah, we said goodbye to Showtime this year. That was huge. It was a big year for Italians in general in sports, and I wanted to do our 2023.
I mean, Tommy Cutlets did it big for the Giants, but that was about it.
For like 3 games.
And then they took him out. They took him out. They put Tyrod back in.
Tyrod, but no, it's 2023 Italian or Italian American athlete of the year. So they could be Italian or Italian American. So I put Paulie Malignaggi. How many shows did you do this year?
A lot.
And people forget you travel.
Yeah. I work a lot of weeks out of the year. You know.
Then I had Beetlejuice, obviously. Tommy DeVito's 3-game winning streak. He had 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions while living at home in New Jersey with his parents and playing for the Giants. Pretty much anybody's dream, right? And then Yannick Sinner, who led Italy to their first Davis Cup win since the 70s and beat Novak Djokovic over an 18-game winning streak. Broke his winning streak against Djokovic. Arguably the GOAT. And the
Davis Cup is probably the biggest one, I think. You know, the Davis Cup is probably the most serious one, and that was a big deal. DeVito was like more so gossip fodder. It's pretty cool, you know, Tommy Cutlets and all that. You know, the whole what he's doing. But the Davis Cup is a monster accomplishment, you know, for Italy.
And speaking of that, heading into 2024, we have the Olympics. It seems like the last year boxing might be involved. What are your thoughts? Yeah.
On what?
The Olympics.
With boxing in the Olympics?
Yeah.
It's gonna be the last one to the last boxing in the Olympics.
I want to see your opinion on that.
I think Aiba messed everything up. I think USA Boxing's a bunch of clowns. You see that now? They're letting transgenders fight. The men fight the whatever. What do you call them? Converted men? What do you call them? Converted men fight the women now. Fight natural women in USA Boxing. I think amateur boxing in general has blown it royally. So that's why they're out of the Olympics now, and now less and less people are going to be doing boxing after this recent announcement. Speaking of tennis, even Martina Navratilova was complaining about it. You saw that? Martina Navratilova put out a statement about the fact that converted men are going to be fighting women in boxing.
I saw what I sent you was the woman from Australia
Ebony Bridges. Yep.
Had to take on it. So that's really, it's amateur boxing, which is the problem, not the Olympics.
I mean,
what slice is that, bro?
We're gonna cut that pause out, but
yeah.
I mean, I feel like this was gonna be a long time coming. It's kind of a shame, really, but boxing has been stepping on itself for a while, you know, and believe it or not, the amateurs were always more corrupt than the pros. It's kind of crazy. Because as corrupt as pro boxing is, the amateur boxing was always more corrupt.
Do you see any prospects going in? I know you guys did a 2023 best prospects at the end of ProBox. Are any of those guys going to the Olympics? Or are they all pro?
They're all pros. But I mean, we have some very good prospects at ProBox that we're not a lot, but Najee Lopez, Darrell Valsaint, and the Valle brothers, and Marcus and what's the other one's name? Dominic and Marcus Valle are four really good prospects in boxing. If I can tell you one thing to keep an eye on, the guys that you might not have heard of yet, Najee Lopez, a light heavyweight, Darrell Valsaint, a super welterweight, Marcus Valle, a super welterweight, and Dominic Valle, a 130 pounder. You are going to see most, if not all, of those guys become world champions.
That's I didn't get a chance to watch the whole show. So you're gonna see. I was gonna ask you, who's your 2024 big prospect gonna break out? Are they on that list?
Yeah. I mean, for me, Valsaint is good, and there was a 140 pounder we interviewed. I think his name was Mercado. And I saw some footage of him. He's from California. I think he's 12-0 with like 10 knockouts. And he knocked off the kid that beat Burchell. Remember the kid that beat Burchell, the African guy? This kid beat him already. And this kid looks like a real good puncher. He's a guy who really impressed. I think his name is Mercado. He was somebody I was really impressed with. And over at ProBox, I think Valsaint is my favorite.
He's at 135. Mercado's
140. But Valsaint is 154.
Cool. What's the new Spence versus Crawford? The fight that everybody keeps talking about, but isn't gonna happen.
It don't happen. Before Stevenson against Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis against any of those guys. The new Spence Crawford is going to be basically any big fight in boxing. Where guys don't want to, where there's guys are opposite ends signed to opposite ends, signed to opposing promotions and networks, and nobody ever makes a fight. It's actually why boxing is getting dropped. You see why Showtime just dropped boxing? If you keep creating fighters that make in-demand fights and you never make the fights, that's what happens. Eventually, the network's going to drop them.
So these fighters that we learned a lot about in 2023, I want to get your take on. They're kind of in limbo, or they seem at a point in their career where they have to make a decision. I want to ask you and get your quick take on them. Starting with Errol Spence. What does he have to do?
Which prospect?
No, I want to get your just the fighter in general that we learned a lot about in 2023. I want to start with
Spence. In general,
that gave us some answers, and we saw, and either lost a fight, or maybe you got robbed, and wanted to see their outlook that we have kind of questions on, and one of those people is Spence.
Oh, those aren't prospects. Those are
no. Yeah, I want to transition into actual pros.
I mean, with Spence, I don't know, man. Because he had already been. I think the lesson of the year really is don't have a long layoff. Everybody who had a long layoff came back looking like shit. Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence. Like I think the important thing is don't have a long layoff, because you come back like not really feeling yourself, not really doing well. Especially coming back from a long layoff and then being in a big fight. It's really, really not the answer and not the way to be. I think that's a learning lesson for any of these fighters coming up the ladder. It's never have a long layoff if you plan on, if you want to plan on never looking that bad. Look at how bad Wilder looked. Look at how bad Spence looked. Some of that has to be come into play with the long layoff.
Your guy Loma, what's happening?
I mean, I think Loma probably comes back next year. It fights Kambosos. I don't know what the future really holds for him. I think the lightweight division the belts will be all vacant soon, right? I mean, actually, Haney's gonna be stripped of all of them. He's not going back to lightweight. I know the WBA just upped Gervonta Davis to the main champion, to being the main champion, because he was a secondary champion. So from that perspective, Gervonta Davis wins his first real world championship at lightweight. He had only been a real world champion at 130 pounds. Then Shakur Stevenson had the BC title, because he won it against De Los Santos. You still have two belts out there in the 135-pound division that are open. I wouldn't be shocked if Lomachenko wins another world title at 135 pounds, but I think his window of actually unifying the division is probably past him.
Caleb Plant.
Caleb is, I think we'll see him back in the spring. I think even in defeat, I think he had a good performance. Again, talking about long layoffs, we don't want to see that long layoff. It's going to be a year in March. Hopefully, we see playing back soon because he's a timing fighter and he's the kind of guy you don't want to have too much of a long layoff. I understand that by some people's standards, the smack he gave Charlo counts as a fight, but it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't keep you sharp. You know, so he hasn't fought since Benavidez, so you definitely want to keep that guy back in the ring. You know,
Stop against Charlo. That's good. AJ, who actually ended up the year on kind of on top.
Speaking of layoffs, AJ's one guy that did not have a layoff. He made a big effort to stay busy, even if they weren't super fights. He made a big effort to stay busy, and look how it paid off for him. At the end of the year, he's the main guy that people talk about in that heavyweight division. Yes, Ngannou had his moment with Fury, but Joshua, after that performance in Saudi Arabia, everybody's saying, "Oh, he's back. He looked great. He looked sharp." Lesson learned there as well. No long layoffs. Wilder came back after a long layoff. Everybody thought they were just going to make. Everybody just thought Joshua Wilder was going to become a foregone conclusion. They were just going to make the fight. Honestly, I wasn't crazy about it because I wasn't crazy about the way Joshua had looked. But Joshua staying busy, continue to stay in the gym, stay sharp. Worked with Ben Davidson in his last camp, which is made him look tremendously incredible in the fight against Wilder. And like I said, Wilder after the layoff looked like dog duty. And now all of a sudden you can't make that. You can't really make that fight and expect to tell it the same way. So AJ, really the moral of the story. It goes back to what I said. Stay busy. AJ stayed busy, and that's why he's been able to get sharp, and even he keeps his mental sharp as well. Because you're back in the gym, you're staying in the gym, you're staying in camp, you're working mentally. You could see he was very focused and sharp.
Yeah. That card.
While Deontay was talking about he was taking hallucinogenics or whatever the hell that thing is called, Ayushka, whatever he took.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah, that guy's coming up taking hallucinogenics while AJ stayed in the gym training and fighting all year round. Man, some people get weird when they make money. I'll tell you.
You didn't? You stayed the same? What'd you do with your first check? With your first big check? I've never asked you that. Yeah.
When did I get my first big check?
But what'd you do with your first big check?
Actually, my first big check was the Cotto fight. And the first thing I did was I invested real estate in Italy because it was cheaper. So I invested some real estate in Italy because it was cheaper than American real estate. And I had lost the Cotto fights. I didn't know if I was going to continue to get big fights because I had lost the Cotto. So I wasn't sure. So the first thing I did was I invested in some real estate in Italy. You know.
Yeah, smart. See, not everybody makes those decisions.
At the time, yeah. I mean,
what were you doing? I was going to bring it up 20 years ago in 2004. Where were you at in your career?
What was I doing at the end of 2004? I was in a cast. At the beginning of 2004. At the beginning of 2004, I was actually not in a cast yet. I was beginning of 2004. I was getting ready for a new year, but I had already an injury to my hand. And during 2004, I exacerbated it more. I was trying to avoid surgery, and I exacerbated it more. And I wound up in surgery by the end of the year. So I didn't have as busy of a 2004 as I wanted to have. But I was, I feel like I was coming into a really sharp point in my career. End of 03, beginning of 04. I feel like the hand injuries really hurt that momentum.
You were 24 years old, correct?
End of 2003. I was 23.
You're 23.
My birthday's at the end of the year. So.
Oh yeah, I missed your birthday this year. I'm sorry. It was in the middle of everything. You're in between Paul Delgado and Rocky Martinez.
Yeah. And Delgado had been a rematch that I had a split decision against in my first fight because I hurt my hand and I had to have surgery after the first time I fought Delgado. So it ended up being closer than we wanted it to be. So in the rematch, we rematched him and we beat him more handily. And ironically, I ended up slightly injuring my hand in the last round of that fight as well. But I continued into 2004, trying to avoid surgery. I fought, a couple of fights.
Canal,
and then I had to have a 6-month layoff.
And Kama,
Martinez and Cano. But after Cano, I had to have a long layoff because I hurt my hand in that fight. And I didn't fight for 6 months, which is not good for a prospect, really. And after the fight, 6 months later, I fought Casamanica and shattered my hand. And then I had to have a long surgery. That surgery to rebuild my hand at the end of 2004 took 9 hours, man. That was crazy.
Oh, my God.
More surgery, yeah. Had
My
a
lip
really, I
was 4.
shattered my right hand here.
Jeez.
Yeah, and 2005 wasn't really a busy year because I was trying to come back from that and I was having a lot of issues.
Yeah, you fought
Yeah, that was
Jeremy
the point of
Yelton.
my career. End of '03 going into '04, I still had a lot of promise to my career. I was really sharp at that moment. But '04 and '05, I started to lose some luster because I had so many bad injuries that I started to even question if I was even going to be able to be a boxer. Like, that's how bad my hand got. And it was already starting at the end of '03, but I was also like looking good in my fights and I was sharp by the end of '03, beginning of '04. And so that was kind of a shame, you know, but it's, you survive. Anything that doesn't hurt break you, make you stronger, right? So I survived it and still, had some sort of career.
Anything you could say to your 23-year-old self if you could talk to him 20 years?
Nah, I wouldn't mess with my head because I was pretty determined at that time. No. Now I'd probably mess with my own head. I
What the fuck is
was
this
pretty
old guy
determined.
calling me?
Yeah, I was pretty determined, man. Nah, I was good.
All right, looking at 2024, let's do some bold predictions. Your 2024 fight of the year, what's that going to be?
2024 fight of the year. You know, we could probably say, what did I pick for this year? I think Espinosa versus Robeisy Ramirez is a pretty good one. Oh, no, you know what? Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. That's a good year. Wood, once again, is, it's looking like he's on the brink and then comes back and wins by knockout, Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. That's my fight of the year. Although Espinosa and Robeisy Ramirez is also a good one.
For this 2024.
What, it's going to be the fight of the year for 2024?
Yeah.
Like it always is. A fight we don't expect to be a fight of the year. There's no shot you can ever predict what the fight of the year is going to be, even if people try to. And it's always a fight that people don't even know. And then you don't know what fights are going to get made in the second half of the year. So those could potentially become fights of the year. Yeah, that's a hard one to predict.
Your 2024 fighter of the year.
It's a tough one.
These are going to be hard to predict. They're going to be hard.
Yeah, this is a tough one. But this is a tough one. Well, actually, the one we just had this year was already tough. I mean, between Benavidez, Inoue, and Crawford, it's a tough one to pick for 2023. 2024, I'm going to say, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Noe Inoue in 2024, because in 2023, I think the fighter of the year is probably going to be Benavidez with a wrinkle to Crawford, who the problem with Crawford is he only had one fight, because I think if Crawford would have been able to have another fight, I think he would have got fighter of the year. But I think it's probably going to have the edge to Benavidez with Inoue coming in second and Crawford third.
What does Inoue have to do to prove anything else to you? I
mean, if Inoue has the same kind of year next year as he has this year, he wins fighter of the year. Because the only reason he might not get it is because Benavidez also had a great year. Inoue is on a tear, bro. Inoue is on a tear.
Do you see him going
Although, you know what? You can also potentially, put Crawford back in the mix. Like, if Crawford beats like a Tim Tszyu and like another fight, Crawford once again is in the mix for fighter of the year as well. He just has to fight more than once a year. That's the problem.
Yeah, because you worked the Adesanya fight, and then it seems like it went straight to boots, and then that was already a year ago. Was the Adesanya fight? So and it's been 6 months since Crawford Spence. That's a good. I mean, that's a safe bet. Boots.
Boots is going to be your fighter of the year.
This is going to be his breakout year.
You need the opponents. That's the problem. I don't know if Boots has the opponents.
Nobody wants to fight him. Your comeback fighter of the year.
What, after like losing, you mean? Or
just somebody who you could see making a rebound after these past couple of years. That happens in boxing.
I think we just said Robeisy Ramirez who lost. I think Robeisy Ramirez comes back looking good. I think maybe Robeisy Ramirez. I don't expect Charlo to really come back the same way. Doesn't look like he cares. I don't expect Spence to really come back the same way. I guess you can say Caleb Plant, but he didn't really go all the way down either. He lost in a good fight against Benavidez. So I don't know. Maybe Caleb Plant or Robeisy Ramirez.
What do you have in store? What are you most excited for?
What do I have in what do I have in store? You know what I have in store? I am now exclusive with ProBox TV. So I won't be able to be worked the stuff with ProBox with the zone with MVP and Jake Paul. I appreciate the fact that they had given me work and then allowed me to get on those shows and commentate them. But at the end of 2023, I was made exclusive with ProBox TV, so I got to deal with full-time deal with ProBox TV. And so I'm excited for the growth of the channel with ProBox TV and to be able to be with them, because looks like I chose right, boys. Showtime's out and ProBox is in.
No more BYB?
BYB, I'm in there as well. But BYB is still growing. They're still, yeah, BYB is still with the shirt. But BYB, I'm still going to keep growing, working with them as well, but because that's not exclusive to boxing, they're bare knuckle. BYB is an interesting one as well, but I think we're still in that growing phase. You know, I don't think we're quite as big yet, but I think BYB will grow into a big company as well. It's being moved, it's being positioned very, very well. And Dada 5000, along with Mike Vasquez, the guys at the top, and Bloom, Mr. Bloom. Also, you know, I think they're smart and they're moving in the right direction.
And we're going to be
busy there too. We're doing at least one show a month for BYB, so that's going to be pretty cool.
And we got Paulie TV for your instant takes.
And Paulie TV is always going to be there with my instant takes. You know what, bro? I look at this channel like we're just our hobby, bro. You know, we don't really take care of it. You know, but the fans like us. I really appreciate the fans. They like us. They tune in. They comment. Yeah, you know what? They complain. You know what? You have a right to complain too. I mean, I don't really get to dedicate a lot to Paulie TV, like, because I have other gigs, but I enjoy like giving it my time, like coming here, sitting down. And just giving it my time, like I'm hanging out with the fellas. Like I said, that's why I don't mind eating on the channel. Like it's my rules. I can just do what I want. And you know what? Not everybody likes it, but I also appreciate the love too. You know, and I appreciate that everybody comes to the channel for my opinions after fights and whatnot. It's pretty cool because, like I said, right now it's pretty much just a hobby, but it's a cool hobby. You know, it's a cool hobby. It's like our own little exclusive club. You know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I get to be the layman in all of it.
Yeah.
And I'll forever be the layman. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.